Good morning, everybody. Good morning, people in faraway places.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to turn things over to Adam. We're doing governance first and then audit. I'm going to turn things over to Adam, who is going to take the steps to open our meeting.
Good morning, everybody. Just starting, I know we have a number of people on video and the phone, just making sure we have the people we think we have. We've got Elaine McCann representing Budget Director Mary Beth LeBate. Just have you on video, Elaine?
Yes.
Yes, good. We've got Christopher Curtis representing the Commissioner of Taxation and Finance. Christopher, we've got Linda Baldwin representing Cesar Perales, Secretary of State. Again, participating via video from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building in 131 in Albany.
Linda Baldwin is not present at this time.
And the Commissioner of Tax is actually
Yeah, this is Commissioner Bone. I'm here with Chris today.
Good. Very good. Thank you. We've got, I believe, Steve Weiss and Andrew Sanfilippo attending from the agency's Buffalo Regional Office at Electric Tower, 535 Washington Street, Suite 105. Yes?
Yep, that's correct.
And Marge Rogat sends her regrets. She was supposed to attend by video, but is ill. And we've got Jamie Rubin participating by phone today. I'm going to ask for motions and seconds to call to order the September 8th, 2015 Governance Committee meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation. Actually, let me just say for Sunny May, we're going to adjourn until Thursday because we don't have a quorum at this time. So for the other 8 entities, may I have motions for HFA and AHC and seconds?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Second.
And motions for MBBA and TSFC and a second?
Motion so moved.
So moved.
Second?
All right, Andy.
So,
Sorry, Ken.
That's good. Good step on my lines. Go ahead.
we've got Steve Weiss as the Governance Committee Chair for HFA and AHC, and he'll chair the meetings for HFA and AHC. Kenneth Bialo, the Chair for MBBA and TSFC. He'll chair the committee meetings for MBBA and TSFC. As I said, for Sunny May, we're adjourning till Thursday. All items are presented to each committee throughout today's meetings. These motions and seconds, as you know, will be used unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member wishes to record his or her vote differently. For purposes of convenience and to make sure the meetings of the respective agencies go smoothly, items shared by one or more of our agencies will be presented by MBBA TSFC Committee Chairman, Mr. Biala.
All right, everybody. First item on the agenda is shared items. This is item 1. The following minutes shall be deemed approved absent corrections from the members and directors. The 43rd HFA Governance Committee members meeting held on June 9th, 2015. The 30th AHC Governance Committee members meeting held on June 9th. The 38th MBBA Governance Committee Directors meeting held on June 9th, 2015. And the 37th TSFC Governance Committee members meeting held on June 9th, 2015. Are there any comments or corrections? Good. Thank you. We will deem those approved. Item number 2, resolution recommending the amendment of the agency's bylaws. And this is for all, I guess, for the 4 agencies that we have represented by quorums here today: HFA, AHC, MBBA, and TSFC. Could you, Adam, please discuss this?
There's a memo in the materials which describes how the proposed changes will affect 3. Morning, Nestor. Just
It's a crowd today.
note for the record, Nestor Davidson is attending in person. at 641 Lexington. We're at item 2 regarding the proposed amendments to the bylaws.
Good morning.
Which would affect changes in 3 areas. One, we'd be adding officer positions consistent with some of the management changes made by Commissioner Rubin. We'd also be adjusting some of the signing authority as a result of the new set of senior officers, but they would also have delegating authority to other officers as appropriate for particular items. And third, we're adjusting participation in meetings consistent with state rule and council, so that in-person and video attendance is permissible, but telephone participation does not constitute participation for quorum purposes. So now before the 5 governance committees in attendance today. Okay.
Anybody have any comments on this? I have 2 quick comments on behalf of Tsfc and MBBA, which I think Alex has helped straighten out for me. But I would like the record to reflect that several of these positions, the Officer for Finance and Development, Ruth Ann Wisnauskas, the COO for the agencies, Elizabeth Mallow, and the Chief of Staff, Meredith Levine. The activities of some, if not all 3 of those people, seem more directly related to the housing finance and the Sony May, even though Sony May isn't here today, aspect of things. And it struck me as a little odd when I read the proposal for MBBA and TSFC to have an officer in charge of housing. I didn't know we didn't have a housing group. So I called Alex and he explained, I think this is what's important for the record. Ruth Ann Wisnauskas is going to have finance and development as a reporting group and will oversee bond sales. We do sell bonds, both at MBBA and TSFC. Elizabeth Mallow is going to be the COO, I guess, in the absence of others, and therefore that runs across all the agencies and it affects equally MBBA and TSFC, and Meredith Levine, same point. So I think some changes have been made in the proposed bylaw amendments for those 2 agencies, TSFC and MBBA, in comparison to the housing agencies. And I'd just like I would like that noted for the record. And
Where's
I would
the
like
resolution?
Yeah, the resolutions are in the back.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Don't you have green tags on yours? It's under tab number 2. And MBBA and TSFC are towards the end.
Good morning, this is,
Hi, Linda.
I got it, okay, thank you. I got
came in
it.
a little late, apologies.
Yeah. So, with those comments, which I think need to be in the minutes, I'm prepared to vote on these and for these, recognizing that even though it seems to suggest in one way or another that we have a housing division, we don't have a housing division, at least not to my knowledge.
It's just that the title that Ruth Ann Wisnauskas has that was adopted at HFA and AHC in July, in addition to the other Senior Vice President, Executive Deputy, includes housing development. That's her official title. Obviously, TSFC does not do housing, but she's overseeing finance and development for all the agencies.
Okay, as long as we can make sure that that's in the notes.
Yes.
Of the meeting. That's the full extent of my comments, which isn't much. Does anybody have any other comments on any aspects of these proposed resolutions? All right. That being the case,
Right.
Mr. Schuman.
Now before the 4 governance committees is a resolution reviewing an amendment of the agency's bylaws. Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 4 committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
All righty. Thank you all. Yep. I know. I'm with you. All right. let's see, the next item, we have 4 consent items. Those are on the agenda. There will be no discussion on these items unless committee members or directors want to have discussion. So the first item is item 3. First of these items, authorization to enter into financial printing contracts with Image Master LLC and approval of the HFA contract with SS&C Technologies, Inc. for the provision of a license for cash flow analysis software for the agency's multifamily housing revenue bond transactions. Once again, this is now for HFA, MBBA, and TSFC, even though TSFC and MBBA do not have housing revenue bond transactions. Does anybody want to comment on this? This is item 3.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
On the other consent items, we had a sense in the materials of the scale. I mean, they all seem pretty straightforward, but this one didn't give us an amount, and I'm wondering if anyone knows that.
I guess this is
printers,
very easy.
Yes, for the Image Master.
we're actually still going through some of the due diligence for the RFP, but Image Master was the only one that sent a proposal. They
Okay.
are the incumbent, and from what I understand, their costs seem to be pretty much in line with what they've been charging us
Okay.
over the last
Do you have
5 years.
just a general sense of sort of the annual on that?
You know what?
It varies.
It varies.
Because it depends on how many bond deals we do and how many OSs they have to print, so.
I can get that information.
Just
to
curious.
you.
Thank you.
All right? Are you good with that? Okay. That's on item 3. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay.
All right, now before HFA, MBBA, TSFC governance committees is a resolution authorizing the continued retention of SS&C Technologies, Inc. for the provision of a license for cash flow analysis software and authorizing contracts with Image Master LLC for financial printing services, assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, MBBA, and TSFC committees. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Item 4, consent item, approval of the contract with Benefit Resources, Inc., Inc., for administrative services for the agency's Qualified Transportation Expense Benefit Plan and annual review of the contracts with Automatic Data Processing, Inc. for payroll processing services. Technically, this is for HFA and AHC today. Anyone have any comments or questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you. So, Adam?
Now before the HFA and AHC governance committees is a resolution authorizing approval of contracts for administrative services of the Qualified Transportation Expense Benefit Plan, assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and AHC. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, next item is item 6, consent item, approval of the HFA, financial reporting services contract with Bloomberg LLP and approval of that's it, okay. That's the approval that's before HFA right now is financial reporting services with Bloomberg. Who could question that? Any comments? All right, Adam?
All right, now before the HFA governance committee is a resolution approving the continued retention of contracts with Bloomberg LLP for financial reporting services, assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, next item on the consent agenda is item 7, approval of the firms on the agency's pre-qualified panel of technical assistance provider relating to the Manufactured Home Cooperative Fund program. This is for HFA. Anybody who can say that 4 times real quick gets to vote however they want. Does anybody have any comments or questions? All righty, Adam, looks like the HFAs are going along.
Now before the HFA Governance Committee is a resolution authorizing contracts with firms for technical assistant provider services, assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
All righty, we now have 2 items on the agenda which are information items only. No discussions on these items unless committee directors or members want to discuss them. Item number 8 is annual review of the financial services contracts with BLX Group, LLC, Hawkins Delafield and Wood, LLP, and Omnicap Group, LLC for arbitrage rebate calculations, and this is for HFA, MBBA, and TSFC. Item number 9 is annual review of legal services contract with Denton US, LLP as counsel to HFA in its role as lender to the acquired 44 project loan portfolio. That's for HFA. All righty, in the absence of any comments or questions, there is no unfinished business. And Adam, I guess you will ask for motions and seconds to adjourn each of the 4 agencies, members, and directors governance committee meetings.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for all the committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the meetings are adjourned. As we stated, the Sunny May Governance Committee meeting will take place this Thursday, and then all 5 Governance Committee meetings will then have committee meetings on Tuesday, December 8, 2015 at 9 a.m.
Thanks, Steve.
Adam?
Thank you.
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Hey, it's Jamie. If we're done the business of the meeting, I thought I'd mention one quick thing for the group. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if people on video can, Jamie. Let me just check. Steve, can you hear
we
Jamie?
can hear.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can.
can hear.
Great.
All right, I'm more than happy to have you just tell them summarize. I just thought it would be worth mentioning, Karen Gabay, I'm sure everybody saw over the weekend, that Karen Gabay, who works for the governor in the council's office, was shot at a parade yesterday. And I don't know whether people know this or not. I don't know Kerry, but I know, at least for most of his career with the governor, as governor, I think he served in the role that Julia Kupik does now, which is basically counsel for the housing agencies. And so Alex, for example, I'm sure you worked with Kerry.
Yeah, Jamie, this is Alex. Carrie was the council's office a representative for really almost 3 years once Governor Cuomo took over, and worked directly with us. And I had many conversations with him, and he was not just terrific, but very professional and really a wonderful guy.
I heard that from everybody. I never had the chance to meet with him. I've talked to him a couple times, but I always heard he was a terrific guy. And so obviously, everybody's thinking about him and his family. You should know that his mother actually worked at the agency as a receptionist for us on the 5th floor, Audrey. And she's been given all the time she needs, everybody's making sure she's got what she needs to have. She's at the hospital now, obviously. And I talked to Alfonso Davis this morning, who was also at the hospital. I can't say that it sounded particularly promising, but I'm sure when we know more, we'll be pleased to, we'll make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Anyway, I just thought it was worth mentioning because Carrie had worked so much with everybody.
Thank you. I think we should put that in the minutes, Alex.
That's what I got.
We certainly wish Mr. Gabay the best recovery possible under the circumstances. Let's call to order on a lighter note, let's call to order the audit committee meetings of the HFA, AHC, Sony May, MBBA, and TSFC. Adam, will you take the requisite legal steps, please, to open our meetings formally?
Yes. Note that we have, I believe, Elaine McCann representing Budget Director Mary Beth LeBate from the Division of the Budget, Commissioner Jerry Boone and Christopher Curtis from Taxation and Finance, and Linda Baldwin representing Cesar Perales, Secretary of State, all participating in meetings via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, room 131 in Albany. We have Stephen Weiss and Andrew Sanfilippo attending the meetings from the agency's Budget and Regional Office at Electric Tower, 535 Washington Street, Suite 105. And again, Marge Rogatz sends her regrets, could not attend today due to illness. I'll ask for motions and seconds to call to order the September 8, 2015 Audit Committee meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation. I have motions for HFA and AHC in seconds.
So moved.
Motions for Sunny May in a second.
So moved.
Motion for MBBA and TSFC in a second.
Andy, did I hear the motion?
So moved.
Second.
All items are presented to each committee throughout today's meetings. These motions and seconds will be used unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member or director wishes to record his or her vote differently. Note that Mr. Kenneth Bialo is the Audit Committee Chairman for MBBA and TSFC and will chair the committee meetings for MBBA and TSFC. Commissioner Rubin is the Audit Committee Chair for the HFA and AHC Audit Committees. As he's participating by phone, Ms. Elaine McCann will chair the committee meetings for HFA and AHC, and Mr. Anthony Bergamo is the Audit Committee Chairman for Sunny May and will chair the committee meeting for Sunny May. For purposes of convenience and to make sure the respective agencies go smoothly, items shared by one or more of our agencies will be presented by MBBA TSFC Committee Chairman Bialo.
Thank you, Adam. Item number 1 is the following minutes shall be deemed approved absent corrections from members and directors. The 56th HFA Audit Committee members meeting held on June 9th, 2015. The 50th AHC Audit Committee members meeting held on June 9th, 2015. Am I doing Sony May?
Yes.
The Sony May Audit Committee Directors meeting held on June 9th, 2015. The 43rd MBBA Audit Committee Directors meeting held on June 9th, 2015. And the 42nd TSFC Audit Committee members meeting held on June 9th, 2015. Does anyone have any comments or corrections on the minutes? Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the shared action item, which is item 2, resolution recommending the approval of the administrative budget requests and financial plans for fiscal year 2016. And this is on behalf and with respect to all 5 agencies. And I understand that we are graced by Ms. Robinson, who will describe and support these items.
I'm bringing up
Welcome. Good
my
morning,
backup
Sheila.
too.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are requesting the approval of 3 items by the committee today. The approval of the agency's fiscal year 2016 administrative budget, which is not to exceed $57.936 million for the operating expenses of the 5 agencies. Approval of the agency's financial plans, which show 2016 and 3 additional years of forecasted revenues and expenses for each agency. And approval of the cash or program budgets for HFA and MBBA, which show sufficiency of funds for debt service payments on the bonds. The revenue sources for the administrative budget consist of $31.9 million or 55.2% from HFA, 22 million or 38% from Sunny May, and less than 7% from MBBA, Tsfc, and AHC combined. The $57.9 million budget is an increase of $1.1 million over last year's budget, or 1.98% increase, keeping it below the recommended 2% level. The increase includes an increase in staffing from the budgeted 221 FTEs in 2015 to 230 FTEs. This increase is to accommodate the restructuring of the senior staff to include an executive level, adding additional legal staff, additional accountants, an internal auditing staff member, and these are all to improve our compliance and internal control concerns. In addition, we need to hire some staff for succession planning, as many staff members can retire within the next 3 years. At the board's request, we included an actual count of staff members as of July 15th, which was done before the posting of the budget to the Paris system. That's shown on page 11 of the budget request package. The increase in personal services, including salaries, health and dental insurance, and pension costs, constituted 3.67% of the budget increase. IT maintenance costs and consultants increased to replace our aging equipment and provide for additional consultants needed for the ultimate replacement of the IT system and the in-house assumption of the Sunny May Express processing. Increased insurance and rent costs added 2.9% in other than personal service expenses. Staffing has increased from last year's level of 192 to 210 when the budget was posted. And we had 16 hires in the approval queue at that point, resulting in the request for the increased budgeted FTEs from 221 to 230 to give us some hiring flexibility. Discretionary spending continues to be less than 7% of the budget and remains essentially the same as last year's levels. As for the financial plans, as we did last year with the approval of the Controller's Office, by using accumulated funds available to cover out-year expenses, and in the case of AHC, using funds from its parent agency, HFA, we are able to show that no deficits will occur in the next 4 years. For the preliminary cash budgets, which are required for only HFA and MBBA, these show sufficient funds available to pay debt service. Final cash or program budgets will be provided in January with the year-end financials. I want to thank my staff for helping me in this process, and it's very difficult with our antiquated budgeting system. So they did a lot of work, and it's much appreciated. And thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Anybody have any comments or questions? I just have one question, which is the staff level is going from 221, authorized staff level. It's going from 221 to 230.
Correct.
And that move up includes the new executive officers?
Yes.
And the allocation to the agencies, which shows up on page 17, includes, with respect to salaries in particular,
Yes.
includes the three
Yes.
new executive level
Yes.
officers.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so it looks to me like the biggest increase, as I think you said earlier, is, if I got this right, is in personal services.
Correct.
In fact, that's by far the largest
Budget.
bulk,
Yes,
the big bulk of the increase in the budget
exactly.
proposed for 2016.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions?
I thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, so in the absence of any further comments or questions, thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Sure.
We are going to turn this over to Adam to take a vote on item 2, approval of the administrative budget request and fiscal financial plans for fiscal year 2016.
Now before all 5 committees is a resolution of the audit committees adopting an administrative budget for HFA, Sunny May, MBBA, and TSFC for fiscal year November 1, 2015 to October 31, 2016, and for AHC for fiscal year April 1, 2016 to March 31, 2017, adopting financial plans for HFA, Sunny May, MBBA, and TSFC for fiscal years 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, adopting financial plans for AHC for fiscal years 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, and adopting preliminary cash budgets for HFA and MBBA for fiscal year 2016, and recommending the approval thereof to the members and directors of the respective agencies. Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, I think we're all clear that you all haven't presented the budget yet for 2017, 2018, and
No,
2019.
no, those are just projections.
These are just projections.
Correct.
What we're talking about now
Yes.
is looking forward for 2016. It's a little
Yes.
difficult to predict 2019 right now.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, I guess this is time for the meeting to be turned over to Sony May Chair Anthony Bergamo. This is for item 3.
I don't have further action items, is that correct? Correct, okay. Thank you, sir. Resolution approving Sunny May service audit of Ulster Savings Bank report together with management's response.
Invite Mr. Chopi up.
Please, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Good morning, how are you?
Great, great. Tab 3 is the servicer audit for Ulster Savings Bank. Here we're looking at the mortgage records and the systems of internal controls for the single-family mortgages that are serviced by Ulster as of 1/31/15. As of the audit date, they were servicing about $54 million in mortgages. Ulster Savings is a New York State chartered mutual savings bank that had about $760 million in assets as of 12/31/2014. Our loans are serviced by the Retail Loan Operation Group that deals with acquisitions, originations, tax payments, insurance claims, and various other functions for residential and commercial properties. They're participating in all of the agency's bond programs. Payments can be made at their branches or lockbox, and of course their deposits are FDIC insured. The result of our audit was that we were able to satisfactorily achieve our audit objectives. There was one item in the report which management has responded to, and we're going to ask you to accept the report, management's response to it.
What was the item? What was the item you said?
The item had to do with a foreclosed loan, which they had not followed the agency's guidelines properly, and it had many years and delays in going through it. So they're going to indemnify us in case of any potential loss in the future. When it's
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Vote. Yes.
Now before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution reviewing and approving servicer audit of Ulster Savings Bank. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Now over to Chairman Weiss for the HFA and AHC portion of the meeting. Steve? Steve's
Ken,
gone.
he left. Yeah, he's gone.
I believe I'll be handling that. This is Elaine in Albany. And,
Aye.
do we have any items there?
Maybe
Hang on just one second, Elaine, please. Okay. Okay, Elaine, fire away, please.
She didn't hear us.
I don't know what's.
Elaine, can you hear us if you can
Yes, we have a
share item
resolution
4? Yeah.
of the internal audit report for AHC.
Mr. Choppy's here to discuss, if you'd like.
Sure she hear this. Yeah.
Steve, do you want to present?
Sure, I can do a brief presentation. Here we looked at the accounting records and the systems of internal control for the AHC Homeownership Development Program as of March 31st of this year. As you know, the grant program is funded through New York State appropriations of $25 million annually. For fiscal year 2014, the program revenues were approximately $1.5 million, while the expenses were approximately $2.95 million, causing a net operating loss of $1.45 million. The purpose of the program, of course, is to promote home ownership for families and individuals of low and moderate income. The grants are issued for financial assistance for the construction or the acquisition, renovations, or improvements of owner-occupied homes. And the grants can go up to $40,000. And lastly, they're issued to individuals who are within 90% of area median income. Our audit included a review of their underwriting, the notes and mortgages, regulatory compliance, the automated system, as well as the internal controls. The results was that we were able to satisfactorily achieve them. There were 3 items in the report which management has responded to, and we're going to ask today that you accept the report and the response.
Elaine, do you want to invite any comments, or do you have any?
Anyone have any comments on the report or questions from Mr. Shelby?
So now before the AHC committee is a resolution reviewing and approving internal audits, audit of AHC. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the AHC committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Alrighty, item number 5, resolution approving TSFC internal audits report. Steve, would you kindly lead us through item number 5?
Here again, we looked at the accounting records and system of internal controls.
This is for the agency, TSFC?
Yes.
Okay.
As of December 31st of 2014.
Right.
Of course, we know the TSFC was incorporated in 2003 to allow the agency to purchase tobacco revenues from the Master Settlement Agreement and to issue bonds or other indebtedness in return. As of our audit date, they had issued $7.1 billion in bonds, of which 1.7 remains outstanding. Very little has happened since our last audit in 2012. However, in 2013, due to favorable interest rates, we did call in $1.3 billion in bonds, the Series 2003 A and B, and issued $1.2 billion Series 2013 A and B in its place. The agency did receive approximately $50 million in payments as a result of a lawsuit for the sales of tobacco between 2003 and 12, and also they continue to receive the strategic contribution payments of approximately $860 million annually till 2017. Our audit included a review of the refunding, the debt service, the cost of issuance, regulatory compliance, and of course the internal controls. The results came out very well, as satisfactory. We had no comments to write in the report. There were minor issues we discussed and were resolved favorably as far as we're concerned. So we're going to ask you to approve the report since there's no response required to this from management.
Thank you. Can I ask one question?
Of course.
The $50 million went into the Treasury? We didn't turbo anything on that, did we?
I don't believe so.
Just want to double check. Good morning. Hi.
just.
Did the extra 50 million that came from the settlement go directly into the TSFC treasury? It's
Yes,
just sitting. It's just sitting there now.
But it sits there, and we use that for turbo calls.
Well, we haven't done it. Have we done any turbo calls?
When did the payment flow in? You know, we have certain lockout dates. We can only call according
Right.
to the call dates allowed. So some of the money
So some of the money is still sitting there.
sat for a while ago will be used for next year's debt service.
Okay.
It's invested.
All right. Yeah. Well, in very high quality bonds.
Of course.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, sir. Andy.
I just have a quick question. When we refunded those bonds in 2013, any idea as to how much savings were generated based on that refunding?
Oh my God! Don't.
No, it was a huge number, right?
I remember it was huge, but Andy, I'll get back to you with the specifics.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I just think it's something that should be included in the report. You know, I mean, we did something very successful in doing that refunding, and I think as part of the report, it should be indicated as to just what value was put on the savings for doing that refunding. I just that's my own perspective on it. We did something good for the agency. I think it should be spelled out.
I'll share those figures with you.
Okay.
We did something
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just think as a public record, people would want to know that.
Yeah, I'm sure we reported to the board after the sale, but we'll make sure it's included here.
And it was a huge number.
It was huge.
It was big.
100.
Yeah, no,
it was a ridiculous number. I mean, really.
I mean, credit should.
Phenomenal work.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys should be applauded for that and should be recognized for what was accomplished.
There you go.
We appreciate
I agree.
that.
If we haven't already done that, we should have done it, but I think we did do it. Anyway, all right. If there are no further comments, then I suppose, Adam, we can vote on item 5.
Yep. Now before the TSFC committee is a resolution reviewing and approving internal audit of TSFC. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the TSFC committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Thanks, Steve. All right, the next item is item 6, and it's the independent auditor's presentation of the audit plan. Everybody should have a booklet or something that looks similar to this. Gary? Oh. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, you all. Haven't seen you for what?
Just a few
couple months. Hope everybody had a good summer. Gary, you want to lead this?
So we have Lou Roberts and Amy Cham from Ernst & Young to present the audit plan for the upcoming audits.
Great. Good morning, everyone. First, I'd just like to thank the agencies and the audit committees of the agencies for reappointing Ernst & Young as the audit firms. Within your handout, we have a summary of the services we are going to provide and the deliverables, along with some other information as part of our plan. So if I can turn your attention to page 3, this lists out the services. We'll be expressing opinions and results of our audits for HFA, Sunny May, MBBA, and TSFC. Those are all for the years ending October 31st, 2015. And then we'll come back in the spring and perform the audit for AHC for the year ending March 31st, 2016. In connection with the audits of HFA and Sunny May, we will also be performing the single audit in accordance with OMB Circular A133. For all of the agencies, we'll be issuing a report on internal control over financial reporting. That's a report in accordance with government auditing standards. We'll also be issuing a management letter to identify any leading practices or recommendations for improvements on internal controls and procedures. In addition to the audits, we also perform agreed upon procedures for submissions to the HUD Real Estate Assessment Center. That's considered an agreed upon procedure that's prescribed by HUD. We also, in accordance with the Public Authorities Accountability Act, issue reports on the investment guidelines for public authorities. And then we also issue a report for supplementary financial information for HFA. And then, of course, as the agency issues any new debt, we perform certain comfort letter procedures to provide to the respective underwriters. On page 4, as an executive summary, we'll talk about the audit timeline, our scope, our preliminary assessment of internal control. I mean, we were just finished up with AHC and performed some procedures for the last bond sale, so we haven't identified any changes in the internal control, but once we conduct those procedures, we'll be able to conclude as to internal controls. So on page 5 is our timeline. So September and October is when we typically perform our planning and test of internal controls. We'll be back out in November through mid-January to perform all of the year-end substantive procedures and conclude for the January Audit Committee meeting.
We have a meeting in January?
January, the end of January.
December and January.
Yes, end of January is when the audit is complete.
Thank you, sorry.
Pages 6 through 8 highlight the areas of audit emphasis, and I'll turn it over to Amy to walk you through those areas.
Good morning, everybody. So if I can draw your attention to page 7. As Lou mentioned, these are our areas of audit emphasis. So in October, we will be beginning our field work for the planning and internal control stage of the audit. During this time, we'll update our understanding over the agency's processes, and we'll evaluate the various internal controls over financial reporting as to determine our overall audit approach and scope. So here on the right-hand side, we've listed our, based off of our combined risk assessments, our significant processes. And as for cash and investments, we'll be confirming balances and agreeing the amounts to the agency's records. We'll check the disclosures for the risk disclosures to make sure that they're properly included, and we'll evaluate those, and we'll test the presentation of restricted and unrestricted investments in cash on the balance sheet. As for accounts receivables, we'll be confirming significant balances with the servicers. We'll also evaluate the allowances that the agencies have established. For OPEB, 2015 is a roll forward year, so last year we did the majority of our procedures. We had our actuaries review the calculation, we tested the census data, and we evaluated the assumptions that were used by the agency's actuaries. On page 8, litigation and loss contingencies will obtain legal letters from internal counsel and external counsel as necessary. For the reserve on the MIF, we'll also review the agency's assumptions and the reasonableness of these estimates and assumptions. New for 2015 will be the implementation of GASB 68 and 71, in which the agencies will have to record their proportionate share of the state's pension liability on their financial statements. So based on the materiality of these liabilities, we will be performing a number of procedures, which may include reviewing the actuarial assumptions and estimates by the state's actuaries using our firm specialists as necessary. We'll evaluate the participant data, we'll test the census demographic information, and make sure that all eligible participants have been included in the evaluation. And we'll also review all of the new pension disclosures and required supplementary information as required by 68. And then as for GASB 71, we'll evaluate any of the contributions that have been made to the pension plan after the state's measurement date to see that they're properly reported on the financial statements. And then as Lou mentioned, we do review the agency's investments in accordance with PAAA. We'll confirm 100% of all outstanding debt. We'll evaluate all of the accrued interest that's been recorded. We'll also test the interest rate swaps for fair value and hedge effectiveness. And then operating revenue and expenses will evaluate the internal controls and will test a sample of significant transactions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
On page 9, just to highlight the fact that throughout the course of the audit, from planning to sign off, we're always mindful of fraud. So this is just a brief summary of the procedures we perform to identify any instances of fraud that would impact the financial statements.
Can I ask a quick question? Amy, you said that we were going to evaluate the pension fund assumptions and forecasts.
Well,
Do we use common forecasts with the rest of the state government, or do we use something different here than what the rest of the state government uses? Andy, that may be a question for you.
The state provides us with all the data. We already received it, actually. We're going to be discussing it later today. And the state gave us an outline for how to implement it. They even gave us suggested footnote disclosure. So it all does come from the state because they're the ones who control it.
Right.
And they did allocate it out to the agencies.
So when we audit that, we're just making sure that what we're doing here is consistent with what the state says. We're not about to say the state made an incorrect assumption at 4.5 rate of return or interest rate compared to our thinking that it's 8 or 2.
We just look at their actuarial assumptions for reasonableness because it's their plan.
Yeah,
it's audited by their auditor. Yeah. But there have been instances where a plan's auditor might have missed the boat and resulted in an estimated change. Hasn't happened on any of our accounts, but I've heard of that. So we just look at it for reasonableness.
Yeah,
and
you'll check it with respect to our retirees.
Yes. Right.
That's what we need.
Yep.
Okay. Well, good luck on that.
Pages 11 and 12 you've seen before. This is just a summary of what's required to be communicated to the audit committee and as far as when it's supposed to be communicated. So right now we're going through our plan and that's communicated on an annual basis, but to the extent that there was any fraud or material weaknesses or difficulties encountered with performing the audit, we would discuss that with the audit committee when the event happens. The rest of the pages are informational. They just give you summarizations of the new GASBs that have been identified. The only ones that would impact you for this year under audit is GASB 68 and 71, which has to do with the pension plan liability. And at the end is a copy of our peer review report. So that concludes our presentation, and I'd be happy to try and answer any further questions.
Anyone have any questions?
No, sir.
Andy?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Everybody else good?
Yes.
All righty.
We have a number for Randy back on his question.
Well, let's vote on this, and then we'll come back and do that. All righty. So, Adam, take it over here.
There is no vote.
This is just an update, okay? So there is no vote. Oh, good. All right, now we don't need to have a vote. Thank you very much for coming this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now we have ta-da,
98.9 million.
98.9 million, Andy.
That was the savings?
Yeah. Not bad, 100 million.
Yeah,
for an
thank
old
you.
person for an old person to remember that. Not
But
bad.
wouldn't you think you'd want to have that included in that paragraph when it discusses the refunding?
Yes, absolutely. It will be. Thank you. All right, item number 7.
Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thanks, Sharon. Sheila.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Sheila. All right. We will now move on to the shared information items. There'll be no discussion on these next 2 items on the agenda unless board members or directors request discussion. Item 7, report of the administrative budget expenditures for 9 months period ending 31 July 2015 and the 6 months ending 30 April 2015 and updated financial plans, and that is for all 5 agencies. And item 8 is a financial statement update for the 2nd and 3rd quarter fiscal 2015 and first quarter fiscal 2016 for AHC. All right, there being no comments, then there is no unfinished business, and I would ask Adam to take a poll for motions and seconds to adjourn each of the 5 agencies' members and directors committee meetings.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried, the meetings are adjourned. The next audit committee meetings are scheduled to meet on Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. Thank you, everyone. Have a good morning.
Thank you all.
Thank you.